Hello, welcome to Coffee with the Community with Liberty Public Schools. I am Dr. Jessica Meisenheimer, the Director of Special Programs, and in just a minute you'll be hearing from Dr. Tony Cook, who is the Director of Special Services here in Liberty. I'm going to start us off today and give you just a brief introduction to the Department of Special Programs. I get asked a lot, what exactly is special programs if it's not special services, which is otherwise known as special education? We do a lot in the Department of Special Programs. It's really any specialized service that we offer to students that isn't special education. So that includes our counseling services, and they oversee our Section 504 services. It's the social work department, our gifted department, federal programs, which for those of you who may not know, includes all of our title schools and title programming, our English language development department, all of our homebound services, the Seal of Biliteracy services, all of the wonderful things we're able to provide with the Children's Services Fund, and it's also overseeing our implementation of multi-tier systems of support, which is tied to our strategic plan, which we'll be talking more about here in a couple minutes. But first of all, just to talk a little bit about the Department of Special Programs, there's so much going on in the department, so many wonderful things that are happening this year, but I decided just to highlight a few things that we've added new this year that I thought would be particularly interesting to the community. The first one is in our social work department. Every year we do a back to school event where we offer free school supplies, backpacks, we provide lunch, and we invite a variety of community services to come out and represent so that families can get connected to anything that they might need. This year we're excited to announce that we were able to add several new vendors and offer those services to families. So Tri-County Mental Health came and had a tent so they could answer any questions that families might have. Our Nutritious Services Department was able to come out and give a 5-day food pack to all families that came through. And we also had the Clay County Clothes Closet come out, and they were able to help and assist families with applications right there on the spot so they could get going if clothing is a need that they have. So pictured there is our wonderful social workers and just a few pictures from the event. Another department highlight for this year is in our gifted department. This year we launched an updated screening, testing, and identification process. There on the right you see we also included a frequently asked question. We put together a new resource for the community because we know that anytime we make any changes, there can be lots of questions that people have, not only our staff but also our greater community. So this is available on our website if anyone has any questions. But essentially what we did was DESE put out some new guidance this year, our Department of Special Education, or Department of Elementary and Secondary Education here in the state of Missouri. They provided guidance that instead of essentially what they've asked us to do is look at 4 different categories before identifying students as gifted. And so in order to meet that criteria, we've just updated our screening and testing process, which has been really exciting for us this year. And one last highlight in our department this year is in federal programs. We have 3 Title I schools here in Liberty. And in the past, 2 of those schools had to share one of our reading specialists. So we had 2 reading specialists in the district, and 2 schools had to share one of those. And we really wanted to make it a goal to have each school have their own reading specialist, which we were able to meet that goal this year. Pictured on the slide is Megan Saffel. She was added to our Title I reading specialist staff this year, and she is at Lillian Schumacher and just doing an amazing job. We're just really proud that she's on our team and excited to be able to offer this additional service to our students. And with that, I will pass it over to Dr. Tony Cook.
I'm Dr. Tony Cook, the Director of Special Services, otherwise known as Special Education. I have an Assistant Director of Elementary Special Education, Dr. Cheryl Ferguson, and some things that she does is to support those services in the elementary buildings. She also works on the alternative MAP assessment, which is for our students who have a lower IQ. She works with Proportionate Share, which provides services to students who are either homeschooled in the district or attend a private school in the district but still need special education support. She works with our district equity work group, and also she works on the MTSS and PBIS committees. Jennifer Henderson is our lead coordinator of secondary special services, and she provides support in those buildings in the area of transition processes, of compliance training for our team. She oversees students who are in outside special education placements. She collaborates with the Department of College and Career Readiness and Community Partnerships, and she is also on the Real World Learning Committee. We also have a special services leadership team, which consists of school psychologists, process coordinators, and behavior intervention specialists. We come together twice a month to focus on different topics such as trauma, such as leadership in the buildings, and also we work on how we can make our parents and families feel more involved and that they have belonging in our community as we sit through different meetings with them. We have several different placements for students in the special education continuum. This starts in our general education programs. Sometimes special education teachers will push into those general education settings to provide different services. Sometimes our teachers will just consult with general education teachers. We do inclusive classrooms, which would be co-teaching. And then one of our more frequent options that we provide is that resource room setting where we may pull students out to provide different services. We do have self-contained classrooms across the district, and then we have those alternative placements. The different special programs that we offer in the district are the essential skills classrooms, and these classrooms are for students with extensive intellectual and or physical needs. We have different locations across the district, including Doniphan, Manor Hill, Discovery, South Valley, Liberty High School, and in the fall of 22, we're opening a classroom at Liberty North, which is really exciting because all of the kids then will be attending their home high schools. The BEST classrooms, which stands for Building Essential Skills Together, focuses on students with extensive needs in the area of autism. These classrooms are located at Liberty Oaks, Ridgeview, Heritage Middle School, and Liberty High School. And the last special program is Connect, and this is for students with extensive social, emotional, and behavioral needs, and this is located at Ridgeview Elementary. Some initiatives that we have focused on this year include inclusive practices, a focus on belonging for students and families, and the study of trauma. Jessica is going to come back to talk about the strategic plan.
So between our two departments, there are 3 plans within our larger LPS strategic plan that we work with and help implement. So we're going to go over what those are and talk to you about the programs that we're implementing. So the first is Plan 4. I should say, I think there are about 20 or 21 plans within our larger district strategic plan. So when these numbers sound kind of strange, it's because we're pulling just 3 of them out from that 21 or 22 that we have as a district. So the first one that I specifically am the point person for is Plan 4. And the vision statement for Plan 4 is that diverse needs of learners are addressed through multi-tier systems of support, which is kind of what I had meant, one of the things I had mentioned earlier in the presentation. Last year, our goal for this plan was to create a decision-making flowchart for MTSS, which we accomplished, which is pictured on the right of the slide. Coming into this year then, we wanted to develop and initiate a training plan for a pilot group of elementary schools on MTSS, the decision-making flowchart, which I just showed you. So we created the flowchart last year, and now it was actually a good time to start training our elementary schools on how to use it. So what we've done this year, our progress towards our goal, is that we identified 4 elementary schools, Lewis and Clark, Lillian Schumacher, Manor Hill, and Shoal Creek. The team that we've been working on to learn about this flow chart also includes Dr. Tony Cook, who you met, the Director of Student Services, and also Dr. Cheryl Ferguson, who she mentioned is the Assistant Elementary Director for Special Services. And this year we've been able to complete 4 collaborative sessions. We meet every final Friday of the month for about 2 hours, and we focus on a different component of the decision-making flowchart or MTSS in general. And as a group, we look at the new things we have, they provide feedback, and then we come back together the following month. So we've already completed 4 of those sessions together. Still to come for this school year, we have 4 more of those collaborative sessions planned. And then, as part of that, part of those 4 collaborative sessions, we'll be identifying next steps for 22-23, already looking towards next school year. All right, I'm going to pass it back over to Dr. Cook.
Plan 8 of the strategic plan is, the vision statement is equitable access affords all learners personalized educational opportunities and learning experiences in pursuit of their passions and interests. The specific goal for Plan 8 is to increase access and participation for students with unique learning, behavioral, and social needs to a wide variety of educational opportunities and learning experiences. This plan is more focusing on that inclusion initiative that we have, really trying to help students be able to participate in any activity that their general education peers would participate in. So the plan this year is just to gather data and find out what areas we are not able to access, what are the barriers that are keeping us from being more inclusive. We have contracted with Dr. Cheryl Jorgensen, who is an inclusive education consultant. And right now we're gathering documents for a document review. We have sent out some surveys. We are putting together focus groups, and then she will also interview some leadership teams. The next step in this plan will be to use data from all of those sources to determine what we need to do to enhance our inclusive practices. And Dr. Meisenheimer is back to talk about Plan 15.
So the vision statement for Plan 15 is that we're going to identify and implement specific strategies for student and staff member social emotional wellness. This one was created last year in response to a lot of the things that we were seeing as a result of the pandemic, and we knew we needed to take a better and closer look at social emotional wellness. So our focus last year was when we came back in the fall after being gone from spring break on due to the pandemic, the first thing is to summarize student social emotional learning data pre and post pandemic. So we had done a survey in February of 2020 before we knew what was coming. And then when our students got back in October of 2020, we also surveyed them on the same question. So our first thing to do was say, how are our students doing? Let's take a look at that data. And what we actually discovered at that time is that our students were doing pretty well in October of 2020. A lot of our scores had actually gone up from February. And our hypothesis about why that was is that our students were just so happy to be back in school that at that point they were really doing well in social emotional wellness. So coming into this year, what we wanted to do is identify current structures and supports for student and staff mental health, and then complete a needs assessment. So what we've done so far this year to meet our progress toward that goal is we had a staff survey go out to learn about what the needs of our staff were. And in response to that, we have been providing additional LPC, stands for Licensed Professional Counselor. We have identified an LPC in the community that does a lot of work with our schools already. And we've added additional days to her contract specifically to come in and provide support to teachers. So she's been rotating to additional schools, spending the day there and just talking with teachers about anything that they might have going on that they need extra support with. And still to come, we are currently in the middle of administering listening sessions with administrators, staff, which includes counselors, social workers, teachers, and others at our administrator's recommendation. And in those listening sessions, we're asking them specifically about behavioral support is something that came out in the staff survey as something that we were needing to provide additional support with. So right now we're getting feedback from administrators and staff about what our ideal behavioral support program could look like in Liberty Public Schools and helping us inform what we could create for next year. And then following those listening sessions, we'll be sending out another survey specifically for behavioral support for anyone who was unable to attend a listening session if they want to provide their feedback that way. So with that, we also wanted to conclude our session today with some celebrations from each of our departments. There's so many wonderful things happening in both of our departments, and we thought this would be a great time to call attention to those. So Dr. Cook, you want to get us started?
We had several building support employees of the year, several paraprofessionals, and then also one of our speech language pathologists, Aisha Griffin, Ryan Clausen, Kathy Stecknecker, April Munhinke, and Betsy Sylvester. And Jennifer Armstrong was our building teacher of the year at Shoal Creek Elementary.
And our major celebrations for special programs, Brenda Wiederholt, who is one of our counselors over at LHS, was Missouri School Counselor of the Year, not just the secondary counselor, but the overall school counselor of the year. So that's really a huge accomplishment for her, very proud of her. Shelley Curtis, who is a counselor at LMS, received a SOAR award. And Krista Peck, who is a teacher, an ELL teacher at LHS, as well as our coordinator for our English Language Development Department. She also received a SOAR award this year. And Kim Downs, who is a social worker at Lillian Schumacher, received our Support Staff Member of the Year. So really proud of all of our staff, but specifically those who have been called out for their hard work this year. And with that, on behalf of Dr. Cook and myself, we just want to thank you for joining us today and just appreciate our Greater Liberty Public Schools community and just thank you for being here.